Okay, welcome back. This is the third edition of my 7 Insider, where I take you on an insight and look into my archive and how I'm organizing my material, and I'm going to kind of take you on a journey of my analog archive, and eventually each week I want to focus more in just on one image and not get too much into the overall technical of the scanning and all that, and I want to talk more about the image. But this first image I really want to bring up and talk about is this one of Gorbachev. So I'm going to kind of take you on a journey of this image and this whole process. And this is when Gorbachev was hearing the boos and decided to leave early and turned to walk away. Here he's walking away. This is the image that I found in the rejects that I just discovered. I really like it. I'm using a 300-28 with a 2x converter, so that's 600 f4. These were the protesters that were booing, came through the square from the Baltics, Lithuania. It was like a very rare and historic moment. That's when he turned and decided to leave the mausoleum. This is earlier when he had arrived. Again, I'm from the U.S. ambassador's box. I was on the side. That's me arriving with Bob Hope, the ambassador's wife, and you can kind of see the ambassador in the background. This is kind of hilarious. I found this one. It's Bob Hope in line at McDonald's. A couple State Department people there with him, but he waited for a long time. I mean, the lines were like 4 or 5 hours. He didn't have to wait that long, but he had to wait at least an hour, 2 hours to get inside. Yeah, it was interesting. So this is the picture. This is the one that was the select. You can see the F on there in the corner for foreign stories. It won a World Press photo. It was part of a portfolio of my coverage of the Soviet Union. So yeah, that was the one image from that thing. These are all original Fuji transparencies. And there's a general arriving. I don't know his name, but he was important. Again, what was amazing, it was when the autofocus first came about. Again, back here on Bob Hope. I remember when the autofocus had come out, other photographers were saying, "Oh, it's going to ruin us as photographers and stuff." It was revolutionary, actually, for me to be able to focus more on composition. In here, you can see these are just random stuff that was in the files at Black Star. So you can see they've gone through, and these are all in the files. This is all from the parade. All from that one position. I was in this fixed position. Again, more images. I was, I knew the value of, waiting for the missiles to come out and the weapons. So, and again, I was new at time. There's us arriving with the ambassador. I actually rode with the ambassador. There's Raisa Gorbachev arriving. That's all from the position, again, from the U.S. Embassy's box. There's an image of him arriving. Yeah, interesting time. So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to pull the images out. I want to collect all the images from the podium and get them all in one place, because you can see they're all scattered around in the library. So what I do is go through And I'm going to remove all these and put them all in one place, and then I'm going to end up making these scans of all of these, just because of the historic value of them. So it's this whole process of me sorting through. People don't realize that this one image here with that I know. All these other images I really haven't seen. I never really, my career had taken off. You know, I went straight from the Panama invasion to the Soviet Union. It just kept going. And so when I'd get back from trips, I never really looked at the material. I would only look at those F edits, the selects from Black Star. So all this is new to me. It's the first time I'm seeing all this stuff. So it's kind of fascinating. Again, I love this frame of Bob Hope in line in Moscow. This is where I originally had all the images that I had to go through. I needed to go in here and discover, okay, this is the Black Star folder that was in the files that I now have. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go through and I'm going to look for all the pictures from the mausoleum, so I can separate it out. And so you see me just start pulling things out to get, you know, try to get things organized. Excuse me. And then there's more in here. Just basically trying to keep everything organized. For the ones of you coming from the digital world or never working in the analog world, it was really a different game altogether. You only had 36 exposures. You did not know if your camera was working, or your f-stop's working. Is the lens stopping down? Did the film go through right? Is it double exposed? Did you feed the film through wrong? There was so many like unknowns. And yeah, it was a really unique time. And oddly enough, I don't have any desire to go back to film, just in the sense of the cost involved. I remember when I was first starting out in the early 80s, you know, I could barely afford a roll of film, you know, the cost of the film and then the developing. So like when I was doing the Subway series, when I was a student at ICP, you know, I would go out and do one roll a night, maybe one roll a week on the Subway. And so kind of the end role here for me is to try to narrow down and just really separate the A selects again. I'm in the process of, you know, really trying to hone in my archive. You know, I have to leave it to my family and my daughters. I have to leave it in some kind of organized way. Here I'm just playing around, trying to come up with the final selects. I like the humor of that, him. And here I can see the importance of me having the support of a magazine like Time Magazine. The cost of the film, you know, I would go on a trip. I would usually travel with around 100 rolls of film. You know, it was expensive to buy 100 rolls of film, not to mention the processing of it all. So I was very fortunate in that regards. So now it's this whole process of just trying to get it all organized. It's also fascinating for me, this whole the organic nature of the analog, the fact that you have this gelatin film inside the camera that has the chemicals that react to light inside, and then once you put them in chemistry that reacts again, you get either a negative or a positive, and it's just fascinating. There's something for me almost in a spiritual sense, because you've captured time, you stop time with this organic, this organic material, this film, and it was there. It was there at that moment in time, and that's what I really find special about this, the craft of photography. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this, and yeah, I'm going to have a lot more of these coming. I'm going to go deeper and deeper on many stories, many subjects into my archive. It was interesting. Here, I'm just trying to show you the difference. Let me go back to that again. It's interesting editorially how you can see in this image how it's kind of funny here. I'm kind of playing around here with the sequence. It's kind of hilarious, the whole leaving the stage, the arriving the stage. You can see the different moods that he was in. I really don't have a sense what was on his mind, but he definitely knew that the end of the Soviet Union was at near. Okay, hopefully everybody enjoyed that, and hope to see you again next week, and for my next look at another image. I'm going to take you on a pretty interesting and wild journey into the field of photojournalism. Yeah, thank you.